All right, so here I really just want to talk about some of the little details of our formula sheet. So if you click on that link, I would either bookmark or save that PDF just so you have access to the formula sheet whenever you need it. I'm going to talk about some of the little details here that you might get confused on. You should be familiar with most of these shapes already. When I see these two triangles, I really just want to point out the difference between those two formulas there. This is what we just learned about. That's Pythagorean Theorem. That's when we're given two sides and we want to find a missing side. That's dealing with the outside sides, that's dealing with the perimeter, or any of the sides really, of a right triangle. Whereas this is dealing with the area of any type of triangle. It actually still requires a right angle. That's where our height is. But you can see it's not just along the side, it can be in the middle of the triangle, whereas the base goes the entire length of the bottom there. This is how we're finding the area. This is how we might find a missing side, which would be more about perimeter. With a square and a rectangle, I just want to point out that these are pretty much the same. A lot of the times, I'm going to actually think about this equation for a square, just because a square is actually a type of rectangle, so you can always use length times width for squares as well. With a circle, I see these two different equations for circumference. That C stands for the distance that goes around a circle, the circumference of a circle. This one says 2 times pi times r. The second one says pi times diameter. They are the exact same thing. You can see that we're replacing the 2r with d there. The d is the diameter. The 2r is 2 times the radius, which is the exact same thing as diameter. You can see that these are exactly the same. It really just depends what you're given. If you're given the radius, I would use this one. If you're given the diameter, I would use that one. Notice for area, we are always using the radius. So if you're given the diameter, if you're finding area, the space on the inside, you have to cut that in half so that you can use it for the radius. The only other thing I really want to point out is these two characters here, B1 and B2. I want to point out the difference actually looking at this. That's B squared. That's not what that's saying. B2 is saying the second base. It's just a label for that base. This is just a label for that base. That's the top and the bottom of a trapezoid. So it's really just distinguishing between those two bases that a trapezoid has. We'll get into the surface area and volume equations a little bit later, but for right now, just wanted to go over some of the details of these two-dimensional or the flat shapes that we see here.